Printing money can lead to inflation because it increases the overall money supply in the economy. This can occur when a central bank, such as the Federal Reserve, increases the amount of money in circulation by issuing new banknotes or by purchasing government bonds. When the money supply increases, there is more money available to purchase goods and services. This leads to an increase in demand for these goods and services, which can cause prices to rise. As prices rise, the purchasing power of money decreases, which means that the same amount of money can buy less than it could before. This is known as inflation. When the money supply increases, it means there is more cash available for individuals and businesses to use for transactions. As a result, consumers have more money to spend, which leads to an increase in demand for goods and services. This increased demand can cause businesses to raise their prices in order to keep up with the increased demand. The theory behind this is called the quantity theory of money, which states that the overall level of prices in an economy is directly determined by the amount of money in circulation. As prices rise, the purchasing power of money decreases. This means that the same amount of money can buy less than it could before. For example, if a bag of groceries cost $100 and the money supply increases, the price of that bag of groceries may now be $110. The consumer now has to spend more money to purchase the same items as before, which means that their money is worth less. The quantity theory of money, QTM, is an economic theory that states that the overall level of prices in an economy, inflation, is directly determined by the amount of money in circulation. This theory has been developed and refined over centuries, and is one of the most widely accepted theories in macroeconomics. It is based on the idea that the money supply, or the amount of money in circulation, is the primary determinant of the overall level of prices in an economy. The QTM can be traced back to the 16th century, when the economist and philosopher David Hume first proposed that changes in the money supply would lead to corresponding changes in prices. However, it was not until the 19th century that the theory began to gain widespread acceptance. The most famous proponent of the QTM was the economist Milton Friedman, who argued that the money supply was the most important determinant of the overall level of prices in an economy. The QTM is based on the equation of exchange, which states that the overall level of prices in an economy is determined by the amount of money in circulation, M, the number of transactions, T, and the velocity of money, V. The equation is represented as MV equals PT, where P is the overall level of prices and T is the number of transactions. According to the QTM, if the money supply increases without a corresponding increase in the output of goods and services, then prices will rise. This is because an increase in the money supply will lead to an increase in the number of transactions, which will in turn lead to an increase in the overall level of prices. The QTM is often used to explain changes in inflation and to inform monetary policy decisions. Central banks, such as the Federal Reserve in the United States, use the theory to guide their decisions on monetary policy. They can use the theory to predict the effects of changes in the money supply on the overall level of prices, and to make decisions about the appropriate level of interest rates and other monetary policy tools. One of the key criticisms of the QTM is that it does not take into account the role of other factors that can affect the overall level of prices in an economy. For example, changes in the money supply can be caused by a variety of factors, including changes in government spending, changes in taxes, and changes in interest rates. Additionally, the theory does not account for the fact that changes in the money supply can have different effects on different sectors of the economy. For example, an increase in the money supply may lead to higher prices for goods and services, but it may also lead to higher wages for workers. Despite these criticisms, the QTM remains one of the most widely accepted theories in macroeconomics. It has been used to explain a wide range of economic phenomena, including changes in inflation, changes in interest rates, and changes in the overall level of economic activity. Additionally, the theory has been used to guide monetary policy decisions by central banks around the world, and has helped to inform the development of other economic theories and models. In September 2021, the Federal Reserve reported that the M1 money supply, which includes currency in circulation, checking deposits, and other checkable deposits, was around $4.3 trillion. This was up significantly from the pre-pandemic level in early 2020, when the M1 money supply was around $3.8 trillion. Similarly, the M2 money supply, which is a broader measure that includes M1 as well as savings deposits, money market securities, and other time deposits, was around $16.7 trillion in September 2021. This is also significantly up from the pre-pandemic level in early 2020, when the M2 money supply was around $15 trillion. As we have seen, the money supply has increased significantly due to monetary policy measures taken by central banks to support the economy during the COVID-19 pandemic, and this can lead to an increase in inflation. Inflation can be harmful to individuals and businesses, as it can erode purchasing power and make it more difficult to plan for the future. To protect yourself from inflation, it is important to consider the following measures. Diversify your investments. Diversifying your investments can help to protect your wealth from inflation. Consider investing in assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, and commodities, as they can provide a hedge against inflation. Save in a foreign currency. Saving in a foreign currency can also help to protect your wealth from inflation, as the value of the foreign currency may rise relative to your domestic currency. Purchase inflation-protected securities. Inflation-protected securities, such as Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS, in the U.S., provide a fixed rate of return that is adjusted for inflation, which can help to protect your investments from inflation. Be mindful of your expenses. Being mindful of your expenses can help you to protect your wealth from inflation, as you can adjust your spending to account for inflation. It's worth noting that it's not always possible to completely protect yourself from inflation, as it's a complex and multifaceted phenomenon. But by being aware of it and taking these steps, you can minimize the impact of inflation on your finances and plan for the future with more confidence. In summary, printing money will lead to inflation by increasing the overall money supply in the economy. This will cause prices to rise, as businesses respond to increased demand by raising their prices. As prices rise, the purchasing power of money decreases, which means that the same amount of money can buy less than it could before. This decrease in purchasing power is known as inflation. It's important to note that this relationship is not always direct and can be affected by other factors and monetary policies. This is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. The information provided is not intended to be a substitute for professional financial advice. Please consult a financial professional before making any financial decisions. Please, comment, like and subscribe.